Another guy that I'm pretty sure is going to put a lot of balls in the back of the net as he gets more and more accustomed playing for Chicago Fire. Rookie sensation on the rise, Matt Polster of Chicago Fire. Matt, welcome to Red Card, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
It's all my pleasure. It's Anthony. No worries there, Matt. Let's get on to talking about that tie you had against in New York City. Boy, oh boy, a roller coaster ride for your team. But nonetheless, it had to be an experience for you to go into the Big Apple and a new expansion team there and come away at least with a draw. Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great experience. It was actually my first time in New York. And for my first time to play in New York, Yankee Stadium was, I mean, something else. Apart from that, though, the game, I thought we played really well. I thought we created a lot of chances. I thought we could have put the game away early. But unfortunately, you live and learn each game at a time. And unfortunately, we came out with a tie. But I know that this team will learn from that kind of moment and we'll just move past it and go on with the next match against Columbus.
How great is it to have a veteran like Jeff Larentowicz on your side? I've had him on my show a year ago or so, and you could really sense that he's a leader on the pitch, but also off the pitch. How has he helped you in your first season with Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, he's helped me a lot so far. Obviously, he's played the position of the center mid growing up and early in his career when he was with Colorado, especially when I saw him most of the time. He's definitely given me some really good pointers on what I need to do better to make sure I can play at this level. Having him on my side as a center back makes it easy. I mean, he finds me as much as possible, and I'm able to go more in the attack because I know he's so solid as a center back for us.
It's got to be nice to have a dynamite finisher like Sean Maloney on your side as well. As he gets more and more accustomed to the league like yourself, it looks like a lot of bright days ahead for the Fire. Talk about him.
Yeah, I mean, Sean's doing well. I mean, I think we're really solid. I think with the coaching staff bringing in some of the big DPs like that, I mean, obviously Sean has a goal and he has a couple of assists so far. I think there's more to come from him, obviously. But having him on the field with his vision, his knowledge of the game, he's helping us as a team understand what we need to do to win games.
I've known your coach, Frank Yallop, for a number of years, a great Canadian player, a guy that right now is one of the best in MLS coaching you. What has Coach Frank Yallop said to you that he expects from you in this first year? What does he want from you specifically, game in and game out, week in and week out? What does he want to see from you in training as well?
I think, first and foremost, I think just working really hard. I mean, giving 100% each training session, each game. I think that's what he wants. On the field, I think he wants me to play simple, get the ball, move it, look to switch the play as much as possible, and give the ball to like the likes of Sean Maloney, Harry Shipp, and David Accam, and let them do their thing from there on.
All right, do you consider yourself more of a guy that's a defensive style of player, Matt, or are you more thinking offense and then a little defense and make sure that you don't forget to cover up any of the other spots?
I think both, really. I mean, obviously I'm more of a defensive mid, but I do like to get the ball and look for the initial pass and behind. I did it a couple of times to David, and with his pace, it's pretty easy just to put the ball in front of him and let him run. But first and foremost, I think defensively, I try to stay as solid as possible and connected with the back four.
Big game coming up against Columbus Crew. Columbus has had a decent start to the season. You guys are starting to pick up some steam. Obviously for you is to gain momentum and learn week in and week out being your first year. But when you stop and you think about it, Matt, you got to pinch yourself and say, wow, I've made it to the show. I'm going to be going up against Kaká, Jovinko. I'm going to be shooting against all sorts of world-class keepers. This has got to be outstanding.
Yeah, obviously. When I first got drafted, I set my goals of just really honestly making the traveling team. I didn't think I would be this far already. But yeah, each game I'm just taking game by game, working as hard as I can, and things happen as they may, you know.
Let's talk about growing up in Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, we consider that area an area that is craving for its first professional sports franchise. We hear that maybe the NHL might go there, maybe the NBA one day. Maybe MLS will end up there. I think that would be great if MLS will end up there. But growing up in Nevada, in Las Vegas specifically, tell us about the youth system there, because I got to be honest, I've traveled all over North America, and in different pockets, it's real crazy, the game that we love so much. How is it in the state of Nevada? Is it picking up and growing?
I think it's growing massively. I think the development's starting to get better. I think the coaching is starting to get better, which is the main thing. I think at a young age you need coaches that understand the game, that aren't just trying to win games. I think the development side of it is really growing in Vegas, and I think years to come, I think there'll be more players to go pro out of Las Vegas than in years past.
Well, you spoke to my heart right now, Matt. I'm a parent of 2 boys. One boy still in the system right now here in Toronto, Canada, and you hit it bang on. It's about developing that player, not worrying about the wins and losses, the trophies, the medals, the prestige. It's about developing players. Who are some of the coaches that were so instrumental in your life, that believed in you, that wanted to develop you, and now look and say, wow, there's Matt Polster playing in MLS. We believed in him. He believed in himself. It was all worth it. Who were they, Matt?
There were 2 main coaches in Vegas. George McKenna, who used to play for the New York Cosmos, and then when he started to get away from the coaching side of things, Patrick Lawrence picked up where he left off. I just had those 2 coaches really understood the game, and they really didn't worry too much about the winning side of it, and they really just wanted to develop the whole team as a group. And I mean, we won a lot of games, but we didn't win state often, but they were more worried about the developing side, and I think it's paid off in the long run, obviously.
And how great was that, Matt, growing up as a youngster, knowing that you could see yourself developing week in and week out, game in and game out, and not worrying about the standings at a young age? How important was it to feel, hey, I know that I'm getting better because I feel it, I see it, I understand the game better thanks to this coaching?
Yeah, I think at a young age, I think it's tough not to look at the wins and the trophies per se. Obviously, like, you want to win all the time, but I think at a young age, realizing that I was getting better each year made me want to work that much harder the next year and the next year after that, and I think that's what pushed me to where I am now. Let's
talk about playing at SIU Edwardsville. How important was that for your life, education, for playing now in MLS? How important was that for you to get you ready for where you're at now?
I mean, once again, I chose SIU purely on developmental things. Kevin Kalich at the time was the head coach, and he played a certain style of soccer, which we try to replicate Arsenal as much as possible, and that's the kind of style I like to play. And I think even in college, I worried more on the developing side of things, and we wanted to win. We got to the tournament once. We won our conference once, but I think at the end of the day, I thought it was more of the developing as a player still, because I wasn't there yet to become a professional, and those 4 years were massive in my playing to get where I am now.
Matt, talk to some of the young men that are about to head off to college and university in a couple months' time, down south or even up here in Canada. I'm sure you had to juggle studying. Maybe you had a little free time, training, games, and all at it again day in, day out. Talk about how they need to really prioritize their day in college or a day in university.
I think really just getting on top of the schoolwork first and foremost. Once you got that down and you have the grades that you want and you're in a good position, I think you're able to concentrate more on the soccer side of things, which is, in my eyes, was more important at the time. So I just really got my grades where I wanted them, which were A's and B's, and then after that I went to the field as much as possible in my off time.
Matt, let's talk about the fans in Chicago. Watching TFC early in the season against you guys, there's a real strong pocket of boisterous, passionate Chicago Fire fans. It doesn't matter the weather. It doesn't matter if the result the week before wasn't the way they would have liked to see it. They show up, they're in full form, and they're out there supporting you. Talk about the Chicago Fire and those great fans. And unfortunately, they haven't seen a lot of great things in the last number of years. Let's hope this year with Coach Frank Gallup and yourself, you get into the playoffs. But talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, you already kind of said it. Regardless of the results the week before, I feel like they always come out and support us, and they're always chanting. They're always buzzing, and that's what you need as a player for the last 10, 15 minutes when you're really getting tired, but you hear them and you just kind of work that much harder because you want to get the results for yourself and for the fans and for the coaches. So I think with their support behind us, it's massive.
I tell you what, Matt, when he was healthy and 100% healthy, let's hope he gets sooner than later. Mike Magee, to me, is bar none, top 3 player in MLS. He is a guy that leaves it all out there. He's a guy that is passionate, will run through a brick wall for his teammates, and he just makes things happen when he's out there. And he says it the way he sees it, and he won't sugarcoat it. I love watching Mike Magee. Talk about how important it is to get one of the best in MLS back in full form for your squad.
I mean, we need him right now. Obviously, we're creating a lot of chances. At the New York game, as you saw, we could have easily had 4 or 5 goals, and right now we need a true finisher, and I think that Mike Magee has that skill set. Obviously, he's proven it. So having him back will definitely allow us, hopefully, to get some more goals and get the results that we want. Even off the pitch, he's not a guy that just kind of sits around. He's been with the guys the whole time, and he's been giving pointers to myself, and I see him doing it to some of our other teammates. So even when he's not playing, he's still helping the team. So it's huge to get him back.
Couldn't agree more. Matt Polster, what do you like to do on your off days? What are some of the things you enjoy to do when you're not training or when you're not getting ready to play a big game?
I mean, right now I've been pretty tired lately, so I kind of just lay around and kind of rest. Maybe I'll take a walk, but if I had the time, I would go golfing. I enjoy 18 holes of just relaxation, I guess.
Who's your guy, Phil Mickelson or Tiger?
Phil Mickelson.
Well, there you go. There you go. Listen, Matt, just before we let you go, I can't let you go without thanking. I'm pretty sure there's people in your family that believed in you, and now they're watching you play in the big stage, MLS, with Chicago Fire. It's got to be outstanding. Who in your family believed in you and spent a lot of time and making sure that you live this dream that you're living now? Who are they?
I mean, it's definitely my parents. My mom and dad have been very influential for one, but they've always been very supportive, I think. They've gotten me with personal trainers when I needed it, and whenever I needed, if I had injuries, they always got me back with, a physical therapist. They've always been very supportive, and they wanted me to live my dream. I think my dad took on the biggest role, though. He was always there. He was always coaching me through little moments off the field and telling me that even though I didn't win every single game or win state, he knew it would work out some way, somehow. And he's just been absolutely greatest dad in the world. That's the best way of putting it.
Well, your dad is an awesome dad. Listening to you explain that, because he sounds a lot like myself, taking my son here and there, all for my son to live his dream. And if he gets there, great. If not, it was still a great ride for father and son to live out. All those gas tanks full, all those times leaving work, I'm sure, Matt, early, it was all worth it. And now your mom and dad are looking and smiling and saying, that's our son. He's made it. We couldn't be happier. And I think that's what it's all about, Matt.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. My parents, as you saw at the draft, they were balling. So I'm pretty sure they're pretty excited.
And that's priceless and worth more than any money can buy. Matt Polster of the Chicago Fire, listen, we wish you nothing but success with Chicago. Get into the playoffs. We'll be cheering you on here up in Toronto. There's a lot of people up here that wish you nothing but success. So good luck. And again, continue success against the Columbus Crew, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. Matt Polster of the Chicago Fire.